In this video, I'm going to be discussing 6 individual decks that I use to get to Infinite this season in Marvel Snap. Now, these decks have a mix between homebrew and highly meta-relevant decks, so stay tuned. Please hit the like button if you'd like to support the series. I'm going to be doing this every single month when I hit Infinite, and I think that you're going to find a lot of stuff here that's pretty valuable, and these decks are very strong. The one thing I will say is that, obviously I feature a lot of decks on the channel. I try to feature as many decks I think that are, interesting, unique, fun, but these are the ones that were, absolute bangers. The ones that, felt almost unfair at times, with my win rates being upwards of 75% for most of my streams. So I wanted to show you guys these particular decks to help you maybe finish that run towards Infinite and start this next season on a good foot. Let's get started with deck number 1, which was by far the one that had the highest win rate for me, which was MODOK Discard. Now, no one was playing MODOK, no one was playing Discard, and then I started streaming, I'm like, hey, this is absolutely insane. I was tweeting about it, I was talking about it, and now people are starting to wake up to Discard a little bit, and I'm kind of glad because it is really, really good. Now, this deck here features a obvious, one of the best 2-drops in the game in Morbius, because this Morbius, in my gameplay highlights I was recording with, I was often having Morbius at a 214. It was ridiculous how big Morbius can get. Realistically, MODOK Discard is, it's based around MODOK. MODOK is such a good card for Discard. And the reason for this is because if you think about the cards that you're actually using in this deck from a discard perspective, you really only have Colleen Wing and Lady Sif, both of which have conditional discards, which allow you to have very realistic odds to control the discard mechanic. It's not like the Blade and Swordmaster style deck where you're just kind of discarding perhaps anything you can, right? These are very consistent, and the great thing about it is you turn 4 Dracula, which can be on the stormed location, and then what you allows you to do is turn 5 MODOK. It props up your Apocalypse while running your Morbius, while giving you a turn 6 guaranteed play with Chavez, which guarantees that Dracula hits your Apocalypse. That's why Chavez is so valuable in this deck. It's a guaranteed turn 6 play that also guarantees that Dracula hits Apocalypse, provided you've cleared your hand with MODOK on turn 5. Quite frankly, I think that this deck is wildly consistent, way more consistent than you might realize, especially if you're used to the Hella discard mechanics, which are just simply not present here at all. Sera Surfer is one of those decks that I simply can't get enough of. It's just personally one of my favorite archetypes in the game, and I'm glad it's still meta relevant. It's not a god tier deck. I think the win rate on MODOK is higher, but I was still averaging a mid-60s win rate here, which is still completely broken. And I just love it. I love Silver Surfer, and I actually think that I'm going to be retooling this deck and providing you guys with an updated video soon, because I really think Jeff needs to be in it. I really stand behind this. I think Jeff needs to be in this list. I've been playing this, this is what I got to Infinite with. I've been playing Nova Killmonger Goose as the only real low tempo plays, but having only 1 or 2 kind of plays early in the game, and you're basically just skipping turns 1 and 2 most of the times, I think is a little too greedy for my liking. I would like to add an additional Jeff, and ironically, Polaris is the usual cut, but with Galactus being as prevalent as it is, Polaris can be used to pull the Yondu into the lane that you think they're going to Galactus, right? So Polaris is really important in the current meta. And so is it Mr. Fantastic or Maximus that's get cut here? It's kind of interesting with Storm Juggernaut, you kind of want that. So it's possible that it's Mr. Fantastic that comes out and, Jeff comes in. I've even been playing Maria Hill in this deck as well before I got Jeff. I think Goose is absolutely required in Silver Surfer. But anyways, I've been kind of playing with this deck a lot. You're going to see an updated video, but I do think that Sera Surfer is a legit contender for one of the most, I don't want to say reliable decks in the game, because it can be countered with Cosmo, but Cosmo isn't all that prevalent in the current meta. And you also have, obviously, Enchantress, which doesn't really, it's just an amazing tempo play right now. And it's one of the best cards in the game, newly buffed, and it's wild what it can do. It completely shuts down Devil Dinosaur, Darkhawk. It completely shuts down, Zabu-based decks. It does a great job, and Patriot doesn't stand a chance. So I actually personally really enjoyed Sera Surfer, but I am going to be working on a new version of this particular list, so keep an eye out for a video coming soon. The next deck that helped me get to Infinite was Devil Dinohawk, or otherwise known as Rocks and Hawks, as popularized by Cozy Snap. Cozy was the first one to kind of do this in a tournament scenario, and I absolutely loved the deck. Now, with the recent nerfs to Lizard, I would be comfortable cutting Lizard from this and actually adding Scorpion. This is kind of the version I'd be playing today if, I was playing it right now. But I do love what Cozy did with Agent Coulson specifically. He was always an Agent Coulson truther, and I think he was early to it because Agent Coulson is a very, very good card, and it does a lot of really interesting things here with Devil Dinohawk, specifically with the use of Zabu, giving you an additional guaranteed 4 cost while having 3/4 power on the board. is pretty awesome, right? So I really do like this list. With the buffs to Enchantress, playing Devil Dinohawk feels a little riskier, so the Enchantress kind of prevalence has kind of put a little bit of a downward pressure on the meta relevance of this deck, but it's still an absolute banger, right? Because you have so many options. You can, Mystique the Darkhawk, you can Mystique Devil Dinosaur, you got the Doctor Doom Closer. It does so many things well, and you got the Cork Rock Slide for the disruption. I love the deck. It's a fantastic deck, and it can certainly still get you to infinite. I feel like I've been talking about Doomwave for the entire month, and that's probably because I have been. I think Doomwave is a legit contender for being one of the absolute top decks in the current meta. I love it's kind of like, Sandman style effect with playing Wave on turn 5, conserving that 2 energy, and then having the She-Hulk +1, which could be Arrow, which is usually absolutely incredibly disruptive to their play. Doctor Doom for that wide power dispersal. Chavez if you really need to, but you always got that extra scouting from the White Queen. I love this deck, and I think that, with Sandman becoming less prevalent thanks to the nerf, you're seeing more explosive turn 6 decks like the Sera Monkeys and the Sera Controls, and that wave on turn 5 is really detrimental to them. Like, even with Sera, like, it really restricts their ability to play a card. Like, Sera still works through the wave effect, so they're guaranteed at least 2 cards, but it still is a damper. 2 cards is a lot better than, like, 5 cards, which Sera Miracle can certainly do. So I really do like Doomwave. I think it's an absolute banger deck. The Lizard can be subbed out, right? You're actually using Scorpion here. I would probably put Jeff in, honestly. Like, if you have Jeff, I think Jeff's a great sub-in card. If Lizard's something you're not comfortable with, that -4 is pretty rough. What I will tell you, though, is that Lizard's less likely to get knocked down thanks to that wave turn 5, because they can't zoo in on turn 5. So as long as you kind of play a little careful with your initial placement of Lizard, like you'd want to open up turn 2 with Scorpion and maybe play Lizard later on, then suddenly you're going to be able to, get that full power, which is great. It also helps you earn initiative with something like Arrow on turn 6. So I do think that Lizard still has a role to play, but Jeff is a replacement if you're not comfortable with it anymore. In my opinion, Sera Monkey Control is probably the best deck in Marvel Snap, and it's a deck that I turn to finish the run all the way to Infinite from the high 90s to just close it out with a 69% win rate and an absolutely phenomenal cube rate because, quite frankly, people did not respect how much power this thing will put out on turn 6. I mean, just Bishop, Mysterio, and Hitmonkey on turn 6 is enough to just put up insane power, not to mention Killmonger Nova, which is a great tech package, but also it helps boost the board significantly. The Enchantress just got buffed to a 4/6. It's so good. This deck is so good. Scarlet Witch gives you that added control for location while still being a little psychotic, but I will tell you that I think that Sera Monkey Control is a phenomenal deck. This is probably the #1 deck in the current meta, and it kind of brings to question, like, what gets modified here? Like, it's probably, I don't say it's a nerf candidate, because, like, there's so many moving pieces here, and that's kind of what's so amazing about it. There are so many pieces that make it good. It just meshes together so beautifully. Like, even Angela and Bishop, which were unplayed before, the Mysterio Hitmonkey meta came to be, like, it's just perfect synergy. The deck just works. So I think if you're trying to push late in the season to Infinite, this is one you can definitely rely on. It's what I turn to, and the results were absolutely spectacular. My friends, if you've made it this far in the video, you're one of the few people that watch all the way through, and I want you to know that I appreciate you. I also want you to know that I've kept a secret deck for you this entire season. It's a deck that I had not played on stream, I had not made a video about, and I've been playing offline to help me get to Infinite, and its results were spectacular. I absolutely love it, and anyone that knows me knows that it is a play pattern that I really believe in. It's one that I've taken to tournaments, and it is Invisible Wave 5. This is a deck that I've not seen anyone else cover. I've not seen anyone else play. It's one that I continuously hit people by surprise with. It is purely one that, I'm playing and no one else is. I'm not seeing anyone playing anything like this. And it is that functional Wave 5 style gameplay with the closing She-Hulk, Doctor Doom Arrow, and that's great. But it's the opening that's so powerful here. It's the Sunspot Zero Titania. It's the Zero Lizard, which I still like. Lizard in this list is still really good because of the Zero Lizard combination. You can even Zero Maximus, Zero Atuma. You can hide the Atuma behind the armor. You can hide the Atuma behind Invisible Woman. And because Atuma gets destroyed at the end of the turn, not the end of the game, it survives behind Invisible Woman even if it's a fully stacked location. I love Maximus behind Invisible Woman because you get to 3/7 power and they don't draw 2 cards till the end of the game when it's useless. This is a deck that I've turned to make waves in Marvel Snap. It is extremely reliable. I love the Wave 5 counter capability against something like a Sera Miracle deck or any Miracle style deck trying to go crazy on turn 5, including Mr. Negative. Sera, Wave just says, no, you're not doing that. And you build the advantage with the cards, which again, Arrow, She-Hulk, and Doom are they're just perfect cards for this exact scenario. Next season, right, I'm going to make some adjustments to this deck. I'm already working on getting Jeff in there. I still think, naturally I remove Lizard at Jeff, but I think Lizard's still good with the 0. We're going to have to see. Does Armor come out? We'll have to find out. But anyways, guys, I want you guys to know I appreciate you so much. Thank you for supporting my content. Every time you hit the like button, I want you guys to know that it really helps to spread the good news about my channel, spread the message. And honestly, I just want you to know that I appreciate every one of you. If you're listening right now, again, you made it right to the end, and you're doing so much for this channel, and I want you to know that I genuinely appreciate you. I got another video for you down below if you want to continue watching some Marvel Snap content. But I hope you get to Infinite, and I hope that you have yourself an absolutely amazing season. We'll see you guys in the next one.